You know, some things in life don't make sense when you're young. Not because you're wrong, but because you haven't lived them yet. These are a few truths that usually only settle in with time. You spend half your life chasing money, and the other half realizing how little you actually need. When you're younger, money feels like safety. Later, you learn peace is cheaper than stress ever was. And honestly, the best things in life were never for sale. Health becomes wealth the moment it starts slipping away. When your body works, you don't think about it. When it doesn't, everything else fades into the background. So if your body is still carrying you, be kind to it. The people who loved you quietly mattered more than the ones who impressed you loudly. Some people made noise in your life, others simply stayed. And if you think about it, the ones who stayed are the reason you're still standing. Most arguments were never worth the peace they cost. Back then, being right felt important. Now, being at peace feels better. You don't even remember the argument anymore, just the distance it created. You didn't waste time, you were learning. It's easy to look back and be hard on yourself, but you made choices with the knowledge you had at the time, so maybe it's time to forgive the younger version of you. Being busy is not the same as living. Life moves fast when you're always rushing. It slows down when you finally start noticing it. Somewhere along the way, you learn slow doesn't mean behind. You stop proving yourself when you finally understand your worth. There was a time when approval mattered. Now, peace matters more. And once you know who you are, you don't feel the need to explain it anymore. Some goodbyes only make sense years later. At the time, they hurt. They felt like failures. But with distance, you realize some endings were actually protection. In the end, memories outlive possessions. Things wear out, titles fade, but moments, those stay with you longer than anything you owned. At some point, you realize you don't need more answers. You need fewer questions. There was a time you wanted to understand everything. Now you're okay letting some things be. Peace comes when you stop demanding explanations. The older you get, the more you protect your energy. Not because you're weak, but because you finally know what drains you. You stop giving yourself to places that never gave back. Some people were never meant to stay forever. They came, they mattered, and they left. And that doesn't mean it failed. It means it served its purpose, even if it took years to understand why. Time doesn't heal everything. Understanding does. Pain fades when you finally see the lesson behind it, not when you forget, but when you make peace with it. You spend years trying to be understood. Then one day you're content just being yourself. Not everyone needs to get you, and that realization feels surprisingly light. What once felt like falling behind was often life slowing you down for a reason. Some paths only make sense when you stop rushing through them. Not everything late is lost. You stop fearing being alone when you make peace with your own company. Silence stops feeling empty. It starts feeling honest. And that changes everything. Not every mistake was a failure. Some were lessons that arrived early. Others saved you from mistakes you never had to make. Looking back kindly matters, more than judging yourself. In the end, life isn't measured by how busy you were.
It's measured by how deeply you lived. The moments you felt present, those are the ones that stay.
If any of this felt familiar, it's because you've lived enough to understand it. And that is wisdom.